In a previous video, I explained what a financial custodian is and why we have chosen to partner with altruists at my firm. And in this video, I'm going to explain why checks and balances between RIA and custodians or your advisor are key to whomever you choose to use as your advisor. And a strong argument could be made that it would be greatly to your benefit to be sure that your custodian is not only separate from the RIA or the advisor that you use, but also the firm that you use has no ownership and or control over your custodian. Why do you ask? Well, have you ever heard of Bernie Madoff? He had the largest Ponzi scheme in history until 2008 and 2009. And as Warren Buffett likes to say, you never know who's swimming naked until the tide goes out. Well, the tide went out in 2008 and Bernie Madoff went down. Well, how did he get away with it? Well, his entire scheme appeared legitimate because he controlled the company that served as his custodian. So he could move money around whenever he wanted, including into his own pocket or his own bank account. And of course he did. He could also fabricate statements from his custodian, which he controlled, which allowed him to fleece some of the wealthiest people on the planet. His clients did not have the proper checks and balances that investors should insist on. Well, now you know because you have tuned in here to educate and inform yourself. So now you know. Now, the largest Wall Street firms also serve as their own custodian. And as I mentioned before, a strong argument could be made that the best way to safeguard your nest egg is to work with a financial planner or an investment advisor who has a custodial relationship with a separate, well-established custodian. This way, you're usually going to get better service and enjoy improved safety of your assets. However, many consumers don't really understand the importance of this separation and prefer to keep their assets at a large Wall Street firm, which notoriously and historically have sales cultures driven by multi-million-dollar bonuses for their brokerages or sales agents or whatever you want to call them, which of course is going to benefit the firms and the brokers at the expense of their clients. And of course, they are also not fiduciaries, so they are not legally bound to put their clients' interests ahead of their own. The firm broker check reports, which are online, these are reports of unethical or illegal activity by advisors. Well, of course, some of these read more like rap sheets rather than profiles. And if you would like to see it for yourself, simply go to the second box on the broker check website, which we'll put in the show notes, and type in any large, old, famous brokerage firm into the box, and you're going to get a list of hundreds of thousands of listings of specific broker transgressions, fines, and or examples where customers received arbitration awards after various kinds of financial abuse. And how does this happen, you ask? Well, the reason, of course, and this is counterintuitive, is that many people feel safer keeping their assets at very large firms that they've heard of rather than a smaller financial planning firm, even if that smaller firm often provides more customized service and has renounced predatory sales activities by being a fiduciary firm, like mine. The problem is that the large firms with these stadium naming rights and or fancy ivory towers and all their grandfathered money, well, they're generally a false comfort. Your funds are probably going to be safer with a smaller planning firm than with a larger multinational firm. It seems these large Wall Street firms run into trouble about every 10 or 20 years or so, and then they lobby to get the rules changed, then they incentivize their salespeople to take more risks with clients' money, and the next thing you know, we're having another 2008 or 2009. Then, of course, the politicians crack down with regulations for a while. Then down the road a bit, Wall Street lobbies to loosen the rules and rinse and repeat. The collateralized debt obligations, or CDOs, and credit default swaps, which are basically very highly levered tools, are what helped lead to the 2008 and 2009 Great Recession. And of course, they were sold and propagated by the same old, large, well-known Wall Street branded firms. So, distrust of the large Wall Street institutions is not without merit. They pretty much earned it. This isn't to say that there are not good people and good advisors that work there, but this way you have a separation so you know that there's no commingling. Bottom line, having custody at an established and insured institution, but also being separate from that institution, is a very strong check and balance that should not be taken lightly. After all, incentives are what drive human behavior. This setup, separation of custodian and advisor, means that a firm has no direct access to your money and therefore cannot take it out or otherwise steal or misplace it. As I mentioned before, this is how I want it as much as you want it because I don't want or need any extra liability. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you in the next video. Once again, Tim Dorman here, founder of Eagle Ridge Wealth Advisors. And if you would like to see how we help our clients get the most out of their financial lives in retirement, please visit us at erwealth.com, and we hope to see you there.